there.
Recording started.
Awesome. Let me go live on Instagram. You would think they would get this together. There we go.
You would think, but
Let's see. Now let me get Instagram so I can see what's coming through on Instagram. And then we can start. Okay, where'd it go? Trying to look on Instagram. Hold on.
since this is your topic, I'll kind of let you take the lead, and I'll just add in, and then next month I'll do the insomnia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we online already?
We are live. I'm just trying to get up
Okay.
The lupus in color on Instagram so I can see if anybody has any questions. But my phone keeps buzzing off. Stop texting me, people.
Right.
All right, let me see if we are live on Instagram. Go live. Here we go. Maybe if I hit the go live button, that might work.
Maybe.
Perhaps. But welcome back. Hello, everyone. I see people are starting to tune in. Welcome back to Chronic Courage Season 2. Wow, Amber, Season 2. Can you believe it already?
I know. I'm not sure how that got here so fast.
It kind of went by kind of quick, didn't it?
It did.
So
kind of like we were just starting.
Right. Hi, everybody. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Nikita. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, everybody. We are so glad to be back with you all. As you all know, my name is Raquel, and I'm the founder of Lupus in Color. And Amber, introduce yourself.
And I'm Amber. You can find me on theworldseesnormal.com or my social medias that are all the same.
Awesome. It's so good to be back. How was your summer is the question.
Didn't do a lot.
Oh, no.
No, summer's not my time.
I feel you. I kind of just relaxed pretty much the whole summer.
Yeah.
Because I just, I always take the summers off.
Yeah.
The time just to relax. Hi, Prudence. How are you? I'm trying
lots of dog walks.
Right.
Lots of, those kind of things. But I don't really think I did anything per se.
Right. We went to the beach and we stayed, and we stayed at the pool. We went to the beach. We kind of acted like little kids as we went to the amusement parks, and
that's fun though.
Kind of acted like little kids, and that just made it a lot more fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
Than just staying at home.
We did a lot of moving, like for my grandma, getting her situated into the assisted living and then into the memory care a couple months later. So that's kind of taken up a lot of my brain power.
Right. And she's doing okay while she's there, though, right?
Doing as good as she can.
Absolutely. Well, we want to welcome you guys back. I'm trying to get on this here we go. On the Instagram to see if anybody's on there. There we go. Y'all can hear the echo now. I'm trying to
get on this. Is there an echo?
All right, we're live now for real on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. So welcome everybody. Welcome back to Courage Season 2, where we're bringing you empowering discussions about lupus and other things around lupus. And let me just go through the house rules real quick. You all know where your bathrooms are. So grab yourself something to drink. Make sure you make note of where the bathroom is if you have to go. And then let's just go ahead and do our little disclaimer so that we all are on the same page. Chronic Courage is a platform dedicated to providing support, information, and empowerment for lupus warriors. While we strive to deliver accurate and helpful content, it's important to remember that the information shared on this podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider for personalized guidance tailored to your individual needs and circumstances. Our discussions are intended to inspire and uplift, but should not replace the expertise of trained medical professionals. Stay courageous, stay informed, and always prioritize your health and well being. That's from me and Amber, or Amber
Mhm.
and I, whichever way you want to say it this week. So today we wanted to come on. We were trying to get on the first of September, but as you all know, that is Labor Day. We did not have the opportunity to do that. So we are here on the second week, um, the second Monday in September, and we will return to the first Monday in October. So
Yes, ma'am.
the next one will be October 7th. So today I think we wanted to talk about, Amber, just the fall season. So many seasons are changing.
I
Whether
have on my fall sweater. It's
already,
sweater
look,
weather.
it's sweater weather. I love that one.
It was 49 this morning when I woke up.
Oh my goodness, already?
Yeah. But
And
then
you know
it's
what?
gonna be like 87 tomorrow or
Yeah,
something.
it's like the seasons change so quickly. I know we have someone, Nikita is from South Africa, and I know she's going into summer, coming from winter to summer, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nikita. And I think mostly everybody else is on our schedule of going into fall.
I think so.
But either way, excuse me, either way, we are changing seasons.
Yes.
And as we change seasons, our body's going to change, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
How does that work for you?
Um, have always been pretty sensitive to the weather changes.
Mm-hmm.
I always laugh and say that I missed my calling and I should have been a weatherman because
Right.
I'm more accurate a lot of times than they are. Um, but so that's always an issue. But fall is like my good season
Right.
because it's not too hot. I can get outside because I'm extremely heat reactive, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And so the fall is my kind of season.
Right.
So, and it just makes me happy. Football's back on, baking pumpkin bread and banana bread and all the
Right.
things.
Right. I feel you on that one. I love the fall. I love two different seasons actually. I like the spring going into the summer, and then
Yeah.
I like the summer going into the fall.
Yeah.
And that kind of really makes me excited that, like you said, the whole pumpkin spice and everything like that. Who is Mary? Hold on 1 minute.
It could be my mom.
Okay. Hi,
I,
Mom.
I sent her the wrong link. That's why.
That's okay, but she's here. She's behind the scenes. You want me to bring her up?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I just sent her the wrong link.
That's all right. That's all right. Um, but I love the fact that the weather starts to get cooler in the morning.
Yep.
And then in the during the day, it's like kind of like warm, and then it gets cool again in the evening. And it kind of makes me think of how we kind of deal with lupus and the having to adapt to the changes. Do you feel like that's something similar for you?
Yeah, I do. I guess I should have said that I like the beginning of fall, but fall into winter
Ooh,
is
for
no
you
longer my
especially.
friend. I'm not friends with fall or with summer, and I'm not friends with winter.
Right,
So it's the other two seasons that are good for me. But yeah, I just noticed I'm more stiff, especially as the mornings get colder.
right.
I tend to wake up more stiff.
Mm-hmm. How do you usually handle that? How do you figure out how to get out of bed with all that stiffness? I know
I get stuck
pretty
in my
hard.
bed half the time. I've got one of those ones that raises the feet and the head. And
Okay.
it's when you get in the middle of it, it is so hard to get out of. I used to tease my mom because she always said that she got stuck. I'm like, how do you get stuck in a bed? But now I
Right.
do.
Yeah, you
Really
know.
needs to engage the core.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just try and go slow, kind of start stretching before I get up. Like my hands are really tight in the mornings.
Right.
And then like my hips are always tight. So I just kind of do a little bit of stretching as I get out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that's important too, because I think sometimes we forget that as the seasons are changing, our body's going to change.
Right.
It might get harder to get out of bed, and it might get harder just to be motivated, really.
Right. Yeah. I
You
know a
know?
lot of people, because we're kind of getting into the seasonal depression time of year, and
Right.
that's really hard for a lot of people because it gets dark so early.
Yeah.
And so I know we're heading into that for people who struggle with that. I have some
Yeah.
family members that do, and so you can actually buy like UV. I don't know if they're UV, but light.
Yeah, artificial lights.
Yeah, and that seems to help some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the transitions of seasons, you have to think about those type of things. That
Yeah.
like, okay, how am I going to get out of bed when my body is aching?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to get that extra little bit of whatever sunlight we can get during the day?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then how am I going to keep my mental health in check when the time comes where it gets dark at 5 o'clock and it's dark in the morning when you get up to go to work or when you
Yeah.
go to school? How am I going to deal with that mentally?
I hated that on night shift.
Yeah.
You go in the dark and you come out in the dark.
Oh, gosh.
You just felt like a vampire.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
saw the sunlight because you were sleeping.
Right, exactly. I know somebody said fall is their favorite season. Rhonda said fall is their favorite season. Kimberly says fall is my favorite here in Kansas. I can sit on my back porch in the AM, enjoy my first cup of coffee, listen to the birds, and watch my animal companions enjoy the backyard. Peaceful gratitude. I love that.
Kimberly, are you a Chiefs fan?
Uh-oh, Kimberly. She calling you out. Calling you out. I love that though, Kimberly. I love that you can take that time to adjust and make the best of whatever comes in that day. And Kimberly says, yes, she is.
You're going the right way then. We're gonna have a good season.
Let's hope the whole football season is good, because that's what fall is about, you know.
It is. Friday night lights and Saturday college football and Sunday, you know, you got games. Now they've got games all over the place. So
right, exactly. Joy says that she prefers the fall because she can breathe better. That's important.
I can definitely relate to that. In the
Really?
summer, everything is just so heavy, and then in the fall or in the winter, everything kind of constricts because it's cold, and you just feel like you can't get a good deep breath. So
Yeah,
I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, I never thought Wolfie Spoon on Instagram says go Bears. I'm a Giants fan, y'all. So
hey, you're not. I'm not some crazy super fan. I just saw that she was from Kansas, and so I had to ask.
I love it. I swear we should start a fantasy league, a football fantasy league. That would be actually really fun.
I actually started one this year.
Oh, did you really?
In
Nice.
the group that I'm in. Never done it before. So far, I'm number 2 in our league. So
awesome.
Only one game though, so that
right. Already number 2, right?
Yeah. But so far, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has. Kimberly is a Commanders fan. I figured that one, Kimberly, because you're over there on that side.
I always have to stop and think who the Commanders are.
Right. When the name changes, all the crazy stuff, bureaucratic nonsense that goes on within the name changes is kind of crazy. But it's fun to have that time to look forward to seeing your team play and, understanding how fall comes in and changes it all, even through sports. It's kind of interesting.
Lots of parents are sitting in bleachers that are horrible for you, watching their kids.
Look, I'm going to tell y'all, I remember the days when my son was young and everything would be all about him. Now I have 2 godsons that I have not been able to catch as much as I would like to because of, age, number one, and because of cold.
Yeah.
And my body does not do well with cold. But it's so much fun to be out there now that I'm out of it.
Yeah. When my sister was a senior, so like 2018, I think, we went to see the homecoming game because my mom, me, and my sister all went to the same high school.
Oh wow, okay.
My sister and I are 15 years apart, so that's why I said it like that. But it was so fun to kind of just be back and to watch everybody and think about how things have changed since you were there.
Right, right. And to see it change, right?
Mm-hmm.
See the differences in everything, how it looks so small.
Yeah.
Compared
it
to what it
seems so
like.
big when you're in high school. Yeah. Everything seems so big, and then you go back and you're like, huh, this seems kind of tiny, actually.
Right. This is really small. Kind of adjusted very well. And that's the same thing like with lupus and any chronic illness really is that sometimes when you look back and hindsight is 2020, it seems so big when you were going through it.
Yeah.
But when you came through it and now you're looking back, you're like, wow, it wasn't as big as it was.
Terrible.
Yeah. I made it.
I made it. I'm still right. Here.
I adjusted to the season. Yep. I adapted. And then boom, here I am today, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we always have questions in between of our conversations, and which is good, which is what we want. So
yep.
If I have questions, definitely put them in as we're talking.
I do not suffer from Raynaud's, but I know I've never been diagnosed. But let's put it this way. My toes are frozen all the time.
Yeah.
They are always cold.
I do not, but I know one of the local warriors here for Lupus and Color does, and her fingers are always blue.
Yeah.
The coldness for her is just horrible. Her fingers are always blue. Her toes are kind of bluish, and it's kind of hard. She has to take a specific medication.
Yeah.
And get those blood tests every month so that she makes sure that she's okay.
And it's interesting with the medications that they use for Raynaud's because that's not what you think they would use them for.
Right, right. Exactly. So, Joy, I hope that
if you can, I'm sure you found these, but you can get those hot hand packs like at Walmart that you can just kind of crack and keep in your like pockets if you want to walk with or just in your hands. I wouldn't recommend putting it like inside a glove just to be safe, but I know some people who religiously live by those because otherwise their hands are just hurting them so badly.
Right. And then you can always get gloves.
Yeah. They do make warm gloves now, don't they? Yeah. That are like
specific gloves
electric or something.
Yeah. And those can help you a little bit. I mean, you might look a little fancy and sedity when you're going in to eat, but hey.
You have warm fingies.
Right, exactly. Wolfie Spoon says, even if you're in the freezer section too long, it can affect you. So pay attention to that too.
Yeah.
And make sure that, you're dealing with that when you're going shopping in that freezer section and things of that nature. Yeah. Kimberly says, yes, Raynaud's has me cold always, plus anemia. Yeah.
Oh, double sword there.
Yeah. The anemia will definitely do it to you. I was so anemic at one point. It was horrible. It was, but you know what was funny with being anemic at that time before I got a blood transfusion? What was funny was that I was never cold. I'm always super, super hot. Like I sweat at the drop of a dime. I talk too much and I sweat. So,
yeah. Well, I used to always be cold. Always. I always had my hoodies on and my pants at home and my socks. And then I spent years on high dose prednisone.
Right.
Took that I've not been cold a day in my life since, I don't think.
Yeah, that'll raise you up really hot at that point.
They used to laugh at me at work because they could see the hot flash, like just coming up my neck and into my face. And they're like, you're having a hot flash from your prednisone, aren't you?
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And that can happen even in the fall weather, right? In the cold weather and everything.
It can happen anytime.
Yeah. So and we're just trying to understand like the different fall impact on lupus. And those are some of those impacts, the Raynaud's, the cold all the time, the anemia, not getting enough sun.
Yeah. And
You
you
know.
got to be careful too if you have lung disease, because as you get into the colder months, it's harder to breathe for a lot of people. So you can always wear like a mask to kind of help that, or just try and make quick runs from, you know, if you have to go to the store or something, park super close or have somebody come back and pick you up so you're not out in the cold too long, because I know it can really be hard to breathe.
That's very interesting. I've never heard that before. So that's important point. Very important point. Someone on, I think it's Toya Holick, she said, I've purchased multiple gloves trying to fight Raynaud's. And she said, I'm not on a special med for it. Understandably so. But definitely talk to your doctor about how to treat it, because it can, we had another local girl who has since moved away. She had to have the tip of her finger
amputated
because of it.
Yeah.
Because of lack of actually taking care of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it can be really serious. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye out, you know, for what's going on in your body, especially as the fall season comes, or as you move in another country from the winter to the spring, you know.
Right.
We have to know.
And it's important to remember too that it's so fun to go to all of these fall festivals and craft shows, and we have a apple butter making days here. It's really popular.
Nice.
Just remember that to pace yourself when you're doing these things. The same if you're, you know, decorating outside of your house or inside, even if you have a lot to decorate. Even for Christmas, take your time. It doesn't have to get done in a day.
That's important. That's an important statement, because I think that we feel like we have to get it done now while we're feeling well.
Yeah.
Before we're not feeling well anymore. So we try and overdo it. Absolutely.
I just realized I still have pumpkins in my basket over there.
You're on top of it.
Well,
you're early.
Well, to tell you the truth, I got a package today. This is a random side note. I'm sorry, but I got a package today that I had no idea what it was. It was slippers that I ordered my mom on December 14th.
Oh, Lord.
And the shipping date was, it says shipping date, December 23rd.
Wow.
I got it in September.
Wow.
The package looks like it had been like underneath something.
Yeah.
But I just opened them. I'm like, I did not order any slippers. Where are these from?
Well, someone's getting some new slippers.
Yeah. Happy early birthday, Mom.
Right, exactly. Rhonda says, I'm only a year in learning about lupus. I saw your site and thought I'd listen. I'm 57 and struggling. Please bless you all that have dealt with this for years. Well, I'm sorry that you have lupus, Rhonda, but I am so happy that you stumbled across our page, because we have a wealth of information and a wealth of support here that can really help you and let you know that you're not alone.
No.
You know?
The best thing you can do is to find a support group.
Right.
Whether it be online or in person.
Absolutely.
Because it's so nice to be able to talk to people who get it.
Right.
Because a lot of times your family members and your friends, they try.
But yeah, absolutely.
They just can't really understand it because they don't live with it.
Right.
So that's my biggest recommendation, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Wolfie Spoon. I appreciate you, baby. Kimberly says, keep those hot packs in your car and your purse.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Especially since they're so inexpensive.
Yeah.
You can keep them in there and you can get yourself warmed up real quick and go on back out and do what you have to do. Joy says that her fingers and toes were turning blue, and that was the first time that my doctor tested me for lupus, along with muscle weakness.
It's so interesting to me what symptoms people had that led their doctor to test for lupus.
Right.
And I'm sure all of us here, right here, and then you guys in the chat, I'm sure if we asked, everybody would have a different.
Sure.
And probably a lot of us would have tons of negative labs for years.
Yeah.
Until they finally came positive.
Right. And then and then as you sit around and you're thinking about it all and you're looking back, you can actually see sometimes where it all started.
I can pinpoint it.
You know, it's like, and it's not like it's within the last 10 years. It could be when you're a child. Like I can remember, I was telling you earlier, Amber, that I was fighting these hives. You know, I have chronic hives.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember as far back as when I was 16 or 17 years old and going to work in the summertime on the bus in New York City and just getting hives all over my body until I got off the bus and got out the sun. You can see where it starts to show and rear its ugly head. Just
and
like
it's very interesting too how many people who have been diagnosed with lupus also had Epstein-Barr / mono at some point, because that was my first stop. I was 16 probably. Yeah, I was driving, so I think I may have been a junior, and I got mono, and it lasted. They kept telling me it was normal. It lasted over 6 months. Mono doesn't last that long.
Right.
And I can remember being so tired that I couldn't sleep, but my whole body hurt, and it just didn't make sense. And about 10 years later, I was finally diagnosed. And looking back, we can all say that, well, that I guarantee you that mono kick-started everything for you.
I'm sure.
And that's just an amazing, very intriguing thing for me. I kind of enjoy looking that up, the relationships between things like mono and how many of us had that before we got diagnosed.
Right. That, and how many of us have children that might have an autoimmune disease as well, and how that gene pool works, you know, as far as autoimmune disease.
Well, there was no real family history for me. My great-grandmother, we think she had been diagnosed right before she died, and she died in an unrelated cause, but they didn't get much further than the initial testing, and that was in 93. But other than that, we don't have anybody in our family with any of the wonderful things I have.
Wow. It's interesting. I wish I was a scientist, you know.
Genetics is just so interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
It's over my head.
Yeah, it's not so interesting that I would go into the field to try and figure it out, because I don't think my brain could even handle all of that. But
it was hard enough just studying it in nursing school.
Right. I'm glad that people are out there that are doing it, though. Nikita says, Nikita is from South Africa. My toes went numb for a while. Then my left leg began paining and just did not want to move for like 2 days, numb at the hip and lower back.
If you haven't gotten that checked out, make sure you do, because that could be something like, I'm not obviously diagnosing you or anything, but it could be like a slipped disc or a bulging disc.
Nerve.
Something's pinching that nerve back there if you're getting that kind of pain.
Yes.
Hopefully you've gotten it checked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Kimberly says she's on amlodipine due to Raynaud's and high blood pressure. Yep, that'll do it.
That's a common one.
And those, you know, it's interesting because all of these things that everyone's talking about come about during those changes of the season, just
of the weather. Yeah, very much so.
Because we all know that the barometric pressure changes, our body changes. If it can change the waters, it surely can change our body.
Oh, it does.
You know,
I can tell that there's a storm coming a couple of days before.
Right. And we have to be aware of that as the seasons change, you know, how we can really navigate around that, whether we have to get to work or whether we have to get to school or whether we just have to live. You know, if we have children, if we have a husband, or if we have an animal that we have to take care of, we have to make sure that we're able to get around.
Well, and one thing to think about as fall kind of goes into winter. I don't know exactly where those dates are, but somewhere, you know, that's going to include Thanksgiving or, you know, so that's another, we'll talk about that, you know, as we get closer to that, but you have to remember that you don't have to do it all.
Right.
And you don't have to have a 6-course meal for Thanksgiving, you know, just a few things. We've gotten to where we just do small, you know, meat, bread, a couple of sides, and that's it. Because there's just the 4 of us. 5 of us, because my sister's
Yeah, I'm actually at the point where I'm ready to just go out.
Yeah.
I don't even want to do the cooking. I don't want
I
to deal with
I
all
feel like we
the
actually did order Cracker Barrel one time.
right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look into that for this year because I'm
Yeah,
not.
they do a good job.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's how you find different ways to adapt and change.
Hmm.
You. I know you like to cook. You might like to cook a whole bunch, and it's
But
cold
standing in the
out.
kitchen for hours is gonna
Yeah, that's rough.
you're gonna have to lay in bed for the next 4 days.
Right, exactly.
And I don't mean that as a joke, but
But it's true. You
it's
have
just the truth.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes you have to laugh. We talked about this earlier. Sometimes you have to laugh in order not to cry, and
Absolutely.
laughter is healing.
It is.
Just recently, we posted a meditation of laughter, and you can see how the laughter kind of took over,
Hmm.
and it's really a healing thing. So if you can do it, find a way to do it.
I think baby laughter is like so toddler laughter is so healing
Yes,
because
yeah,
they I don't know, it's just so cute and it makes your heart or my heart happy anyway. I don't know how
yes,
everybody else feels, but
it does. It's definitely something that will get into your spirit and make you really giggle.
right. Then you're giggling at them and then they're giggling back at you and it's like
Yeah,
this whole thing and then you just realize how much you enjoy it. We
yeah,
don't have any small kids in the family anymore, but
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Lulu says, "Hi, Rhonda." She said, "I'm 59 and have been battling lupus for 39 years. I'm glad you're here, Lulu. It definitely causes you to struggle immensely at times. Stay strong." And
Lulu, do you have any recommendations as someone who has been living with this for so long for the fall? I'd like to see, if you don't have to share,
yeah,
but
you can put it in a chat if you like. You don't have to come up or say anything.
yeah,
Um,
I like to talk to people who have had it longer than me because I'm only at like 12 years only. But
we say that like it's light, right?
right. But I enjoy talking to some of the people who've had it longer because they have such intuition and things that they've learned that I haven't yet. So,
Absolutely. So, Lulu, if you have anything, come on and drop it in the chat for us and we'll read it out. Over on Instagram, I am Taniam. I hope I said that right. I have been diagnosed with SLE and I'm on hydroxychloroquine for three
mhm.
months. My itchy patches and hyperpigmentation continue. My rheumatologist is now recommending Safino infusion. Um, yeah, well, hydroxychloroquine is one of the the main ones.
Staples.
Yeah,
Everybody is on it at some point.
yeah, it just kind of stabilizes you, and it's not really built to take care of everything.
Mm-mm.
So I know it's scary to think that you have to go on a different medication, but definitely think about what the need is
Well,
versus
it
what the
for
issue
me,
is.
hydroxychloroquine was one of those medicines that I didn't actually think was doing anything for me
Mm-hmm.
because you just don't think it is. And then I had to come off of it because I had started to show eye issues. So if
Mm.
you're new and you're on hydroxychloroquine, side note, make sure you're getting eye exams at least once a year because it can damage your eyes.
Definitely good point. Get that field vision test, which is annoying as all
It's
get out.
so annoying.
You'll be seeing spots all the time, but it's very good to know, like Amber said, to make sure that your eyes are doing well. Welcome
If I can
everybody
just,
again. Go ahead.
I was just going to say for, I can't remember her name, who's going to be getting infusions.
Mhm.
My biggest tip for you, because I got Benlysta infusions for probably close to 10 years before they had to take my port out after I got septic. And so I have to I'm on the injectables. But
Right.
the biggest thing you can do to make that day a little bit easier for you, depending on the medications they give you for pre-meds, you might take a driver with you the first time because they usually give Benadryl and Tylenol.
Right.
Sometimes it's IV and that can make you super sleepy.
Right.
Um, but make sure you drink a lot of water the day before because us loopies are not known for having great veins.
Right. Right.
So
Absolutely.
the more water you can drink the day before, the easier it will be for them to find a place for your IV.
Yeah, that hydration definitely makes a difference.
Yep. Coming
Before
from somebody
and
who
after.
worked in the infusion center for a year or so,
Yeah,
you don't think that drinking's going to really help, but it does.
yeah. I just wanted to say hello to everybody once again. I know we have some people over on Instagram, so hello everybody. I'm
Hello,
sorry I can't
hello.
see everybody's name, but thank you for coming in and checking Chronic Courage out.
Kimberly, you also had mono.
Say it again.
I said Kimberly also had mono. She says she had it at 14 and it took 6 months to feel semi okay. I was very sick. That sounds just like me. Within the last 5 years, I've been treated for lupus. Okay, so you're relatively new. That's interesting. I had an obvious lupus face rash, yes, corresponding with body pain and issues. So I can definitely look back and see where the clear signs of, yep. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, it would be great. I'm sure that there are studies out there that show that
There
because we
are.
didn't know about it. So,
I've pulled them up, but a lot of them are written so medical jargony that it's hard for most people to read and understand, even myself.
yeah, yeah. Someone said they called the field vision test the Star Wars test.
Hey, yeah.
That's a good point. I like that way.
I can see that.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I like that. Um, it is frustrating. Joy says it's frustrating when the mind is willing, but the body is not able. I'm 58 and feel like I'm 85. Sometimes I feel the same way.
I'm 39, and some days I feel like I'm 85.
Yeah,
So
I feel the same way. It's very difficult to adapt and change, and that's part of what we're talking about today. It's just like kind of learning to change our mindset about how we have to try to adapt to the season change, but also the season change of lupus.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
In these months when we're coming from winter to spring and then summer to fall and fall to winter, you have to just give yourself some grace.
right.
Absolutely. Because there are going to be days when you have a list of 25 things you have to get done, right, but you can only do 2. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to give yourself some grace, because otherwise you'll just worry yourself into a
tizzy.
A tizzy, yeah.
And a flare, basically.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to go, but I couldn't come up with the word.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, fog is fogging.
Yeah. You know, and it's hard to really deal with that and understand that. And that leads into what Nikita was saying, that the mental challenge is harder, especially when you not have people close to you to confide in. Yeah. And when you have doctors looking at you like you're crazy, the emotional and intense in progress as the disease progresses.
Yes, you're very, very, spot on.
Yeah, and I mean, there is nothing that anybody can say to make that feel any better. No. You know, sometimes we have to go through those changes, those seasons of lupus, dealing with the mental portion of it, and learn how to find some coping skills to deal with that, if that makes sense. What kind of coping skills do you use when you're feeling like kind of mentally distraught and just tired?
I got back in therapy.
Good. Therapy's always good.
I think everybody should be in therapy at least once a month, just to talk about things. As far as coping goes, I journal a lot. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things to do, though, is like a brain dump. Mm-hmm. When I can't get my head, things are just going and going and going, and then I get frustrated because I can't think of what I wanted to or whatever. Right. So I just, they should call it a brain dump or a junk journal or something like that, where I just write down everything that pops up, just to kind of get it out of my head.
Yeah. And that helps. Somebody was saying, Toya Holick on Instagram was saying that brain fog is horrible. That brain dump helps with that brain fog.
Yeah, it does.
And it's simple stuff that you can do to help yourself, mm-hmm, that we sometimes may overlooked because we're in so much pain.
Right.
And sometimes doing things like a brain dump and journaling and talking to a friend, even if they
Yeah.
don't talk back at this point, writing a letter,
Yeah.
all of that stuff really helps.
I'm lucky that I have a really supportive family. My
Yeah.
mom has been my warrior, not worrier, warrior.
Warrior. There's a
Probably she probably worries too.
yeah,
But
of course.
I can't be I'm very lucky because she's spent hours and hours and hours with me in ER waiting rooms and
Mhm.
fighting doctors to get me treatment, and you know, took me to Mayo. I mean, she's done everything. And I
Yeah.
couldn't be more grateful. But, if you don't have that, try and, like I said earlier, get online and Google lupus support group in my area. And if
Yeah.
there are some, you can find them there. But also, Facebook has a ton of lupus support groups.
Yep. Find the one that's right for you.
And the first one may not be a fit.
Right.
I couldn't. That's why I started the group that I have, because I could not find a group that I felt comfortable in sharing what was going on.
Right.
And so I started my own.
Right. I mean, and sometimes you have to do that's how lupus in color came about too. I didn't see anybody in my area that was like me, so I started my own. And actually Thursday we're having a support group at 6:30 if you all want to tune in on Zoom. Um, it's on our page and everything like that. But you have to find what's right for you.
Yeah.
And who you can relate to the best.
Yes.
You might not be able to relate to me. You might be able to relate to Amber, or you might be able to relate to someone else in the lupus, atmosphere. Find those people and start talking to them.
Yeah.
Lulu says the mental stress of your body not working properly is super tough.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Toy says it's an anti-malaria medication that can affect your peripheral vision.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes. That's the hydroxychloroquine or the Plaquenil. It's the same. That's the same
I
drug.
shouldn't have guessed, ma'am. I apologize if that was not the correct pronoun. I try not to, ma'am.
Assume-
Yeah.
yeah. Well, look, y'all. We talk kind of matter of factly. If you're offended, let us know, and then we'll change it.
I just wanted to say that because I try not to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Kimberly says something interesting. So I think about puberty and hormones.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Yes.
They recently found a very big link to women's hormones and why the lupus is seen more in women than men.
Yeah.
I just read an article on that maybe last week.
Yeah, they've been studying it for some time because women are more affected.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're trying to get to. I was on a call earlier where we were talking about how important it is to get to the how do you call it, the where the problem started.
Oh yeah, your brain fog is fogging as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's important for us to find out how did it start.
Yeah.
And how can we attack that area so that it doesn't get worse for everyone else.
Well, and it's hard too because lupus, I always say this, lupus never comes alone.
Never.
He's
never.
I call him a he because it just seems right. He's gonna bring along all of his unwanted friends. For me, endometriosis, fibromyalgia, interstitial cystitis, POTS, all of these other things. And it's frustrating because on some days my lupus is great, but the room is spinning because of my POTS and I can't stand up without my blood pressure dropping. It's like this constant battle of, can I just have one day?
Right, with nothing going on. And it's interesting that you said that because someone just on Instagram was saying the colorful crafter said thyroid cancer with lupus. How prevalent is that? See, now
that I will have to look into.
Yeah, I couldn't even give you an answer for that. I just know that some of the medications that we do take can cause different cancers. So I would definitely speak to your doctor about that if you feel that that's something that is happening with you or
Yeah.
that you have heard about before, but I would have to do more research on that.
Exactly. I can't say anything right now because I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just talking about going back to the seasons of lupus, so to speak,
Mhm.
and how Joy was just saying it's hard for our family to adapt to her limitations.
Yeah.
Vacations, holidays, all changed because of my issues. It's very upsetting to feel like I'm disappointing them.
I can
And
relate. Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely can relate to that. I think that sometimes, even with me, my family, after having lupus for over 20 years,
Yeah.
I think sometimes my family forgets.
Yeah.
My friends, they forget until something happens and then I have to modify. But
Right.
they're your family, they're your friends. If they love you, they're not disappointed. You're not disappointing them. They understand that you're going through a difficult time. And don't put that heavy on yourself to think that you're disappointing. Just go with the flow so that you're not really hurting yourself more. We get to that point where we feel like we're a disappointment and then we become stressed.
And then you kind of just spiral.
Yep.
I do anyway.
Yep.
And
Always. Always.
my
Always.
my family has been invited me on several vacations over the years, but they were on a cruise or at the beach and I'm like, that's just worthless for me to even bother to go.
You should have told me that a week and a half ago, because
Sorry.
I was like, I'm going to the beach. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to the beach. Okay, I got the hives, whatever. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I was not gonna be a hostage in my home any longer this summer.
I don't blame you.
Now, I am Tanya says, I feel lupus came soon after menopause for me. Now,
That's one of the things they're studying with what I said I read just a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
They're looking at menopause and the hormones and all of that.
And for me now with menopause, and because I'm in menopause, but for me, I feel like I don't know the difference any longer. Sometimes I think it's a menopause issue. Other times it's a lupus issue. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's an RA issue. Sometimes it's a type 2 diabetes. You get so confused.
Yeah, it's hard to distinguish between your symptoms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really difficult sometimes. The change in seasonal weather always brings about a flare for me. Yeah, that barometric pressure, any type of weather change is going to change your lupus season. It definitely is. It definitely is.
We're going to get some rain, I think, coming up from the tropical storm that's in the Gulf.
Oh, that new one that just started up?
Yeah.
And I felt that last week.
Yeah.
Let's see, Robin. Hey, Robin, I haven't seen you in a bit. How are you? Robin says, amen to therapy. I agree. We should all have that safe place. Absolutely. Yeah. Find that safe place when those seasons are coming through and changing who you are. Sometimes we change our whole attitude because of things that lupus has put us through. Find that safe place for sure.
And I want to say too, if you start therapy and you've never done it before, or you're seasoned vet, whatever, if you're not clicking with your therapist, that's okay. There are other therapists out there. So if you don't have to stick with one just because that's who they assigned you to.
Right.
If you're not clicking and they're not getting you and you're not getting any benefit from your sessions, don't stick with them. Ask to be changed to a different doctor. Both of my therapists retired a few months ago and nobody told me.
Wow.
And I had been calling to make appointments and they kept saying, well, let me see if we can put you in. And of course they couldn't because she was only working one day a week. So I just started with a new therapist. Mm-hmm. I think I've had 3 appointments and I was really worried because it's a guy and I've never, all my therapists in the past have been female, but wow. He is doing such good things. I mean, it's been a really good experience.
Yeah, you definitely have to find someone that you can definitely relate to and not feel like you're being judged or
right.
Or, talked about after you leave the room, you know what I
right.
mean? And sometimes that therapist might come in the form of your pastor. It might come in the form of a counselor, a social worker. Mm-hmm. It's important for you to find the person that is right for you.
Because it will change your therapy and you will get so much more benefit out of it I will share this one bit, but the therapist I had first, she also had a rheumatoid issue. I can't remember what she had, mixed connective tissue or something. And I was having trouble the year after I had gone into sepsis around that anniversary, and how I was told that I was very close to death. And I was really having trouble dealing with those feelings. So I brought it up to her, and she says, she was big into therapeutic writing. She says, well, why don't you write a letter to your body and to your blood clots and to the infection? I was like, lady,
I love that.
you lost your mind.
I love that.
I do therapeutic writing. I've done it to get past like things people have done to write to people, but I couldn't get into the whole writing a letter to my blood clot.
I mean, you know what? I guess it's like when you're journaling. Kimberly was saying how journaling is so great.
It is.
It's like naming your feelings. You know how sometimes when you're dealing with some issues, when you name that feeling, you give it a name, now you can address it.
Right.
You know, so it gets you in that mindset of naming what's going on and then addressing it to a point where you already have a name.
Right.
So it's easy to talk to it.
Right.
It was a person so that you can get those feelings out from underneath you. You know? Let's get to some of these statements because wow, it's 7:50 already.
How'd that happen?
Have that happen. Nikita says there is none in my city. I was thinking of starting my own group. I began making TikTok videos, and people have been asking to share more because here we are not familiar with lupus. I learned more from lupus and color than from doctors, and I'm able to answer other patients' questions in my area. I can't wait to see your group.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I'm sure I'm gonna speak for you too. But if you need to like message us or because we have both started our groups. Mine is much smaller. We're only about 600, but feel free to message either one of us.
Yeah, absolutely, Nikita. I want
glad to help however we can.
Yeah, I want you to do it, girl. You got this. You can do it. We're here to help you. We're always here to help everybody who's on the call, anybody who's around. We're here to help you.
My all of my socials are World Sees Normal. So if
and
you
I'm gonna
Robin, yes, endometriosis is a big one. Yes, I have that as well. I have had 4 surgeries, like ablations. And I asked for a hysterectomy when I was like 32. And my doctor, because I knew I was not going to carry my own children. Right. Because I just, there were too many things going on and I with having to stop medication and everything. But she said no. She said that I was too young and I might change my mind. So she put in an IUD. And actually, I didn't think it was going to do anything for me. But it has been a blessing.
I love that she gave you another alternative because when I got my hysterectomy, I didn't have an alternative.
Yeah,
I was bleeding out.
So that was my mom too.
Yeah, you know, so I really didn't have that alternative. But I love when doctors say, "Let's try something different before we go to the extreme." Because now you know that doctor is actually listening to you. They're understanding you. And they understand just the plight of being a woman in general.
I've seen her since I think I was 16. And she did my mom's hysterectomy. I mean, so I think my sister even saw her once. But it was just, I was really frustrated in the moment.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Because I had gotten my head wrapped around it and I was good with it. And then she's like, no, okay.
Right. Barbara says after I had a kidney transplant, the flare-ups were not as bad.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How long out are you from your transplant? And how are you doing overall?
That makes a big difference sometimes for people.
Especially if you've been on dialysis.
Right. Exactly.
That can really mess up everything.
Exactly. The colorful crafter said, I'm tired of all of the meds and side effects. What can cause excessive eye watering and blurry vision? Anything that lupus does. Honestly, honestly,
Honestly,
so many things can happen while you're dealing with lupus. It can attack anything in your body.
my
And
eyes water a lot, but mine are allergy related.
yeah, mine, oddly enough, mine are scleritis related. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I have this one that just like runs, and then my face gets sore because I've been rubbing it all day.
right, exactly.
But
Um,
make sure you're talking to your doctor about that, especially the blurry vision part, because that's not normal.
yeah. And the blurry vision could be a combination of things. It might be your medications, it might be your blood sugar.
Yeah.
It could be so many different things. So, like Amber said, please make sure that you're checking with your doctor.
Because
Um,
losing your sight is a big thing. That's not something you want to mess around with.
right. Definitely not. Some purple rain rum. I like that.
I do
Purple rain
too.
rum. She says she learns a lot from us. She
Oh, well,
doesn't
thank you.
she doesn't have a support group in South America. That's why we're here. I'm so happy that we have the internet
Yeah.
because we can really touch people all over the world. And
We
it's
both have.
so
Feel
important.
free to join both of us because we have people from everywhere.
Yeah, we do. The colorful crafter said, "Thank you. My resident rheumatologist told me about you." Oh,
Oh,
great. Now I have to break in a new one. We need more doctors that look like us. Absolutely. And I think that's an issue that we've tackled before where we're talking about um how it's so hard to find black doctors or to find people that we can relate to in general, whether you're from a different country or whether you're from a different
it's hard for everybody, but I think it is much harder for you guys, I will say, especially because you guys have such a high risk of kidney issues and
right.
all
Right.
those things that need to be looked at. And when you don't have a good doctor, it can be really detrimental.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know it's hard.
Yeah,
We
it's definitely difficult, but that's why we have these groups and that's why we have people that we can get online. The internet has been just amazing and
for
helping.
us,
Yeah, and helping people just get the information they need. Lulu says her first time tuning in. I'm so glad you tuned in, Lulu. I have to go now. Thank you. This has been great. I'll be back. Thanks, Lulu, for coming. We so appreciate you. We so
we'll
appreciate
see
you.
you October 7th.
7th. Yep.
Yes.
Kimberly says, Nikita, fantastic. Start your own. Look at the support you have. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm
If
gonna
you're not finding what you need, then just start your own.
absolutely. And you guys know when we finish this particular live, you can always come back to the comments and start talking that
Yeah.
way as well if you like. It's all up to you, but we're always here to talk to you and to let you know what's going on in the lupus world and to let you
Yeah.
get some things off your chest and things of that nature. So I
I
want
guess it's time to wrap up.
yeah, I want to start wrapping up. We have about 3 minutes. I just put Amber's uh
At
information up there and you all know where you are. You're on Lupus and Color page, so you know where you are here. So I don't need to do that. But I want to make sure that Amber, you have a chance to give us a little, I guess, a little uplifting moment, if you can, about your changing seasons and how to have a mindset of adaptation and change.
I think you have to go into any season of life, of lupus, of weather with an open mind. And like I said earlier, giving yourself some grace, because every season is not going to be the same. Every fall, your body is not going to react the same way. You could have a great fall this year and next year it's horrible. So you just have to keep a uh, positive mentality. Couldn't come up
Yeah.
with a word.
No, I got you. I got you. You got it.
And just do what you can. When it comes to decorating or football or any of the things, don't feel like you have to do that all at one time.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And just real quick, Toy said we need to be able to trust our medical providers, whoever they are. Trust is the key in managing lupus. That's
Amen.
such a valid point that I want us to end on, because trust is so hard, especially when you've been gaslit and people don't believe what's going on in your body. Trust is the most important thing. And
Absolutely.
if we could leave with that, I'll just say that trusting yourself to know when a season ends for you with lupus,
Right.
whether it be a change in medication
A
or
relationship,
a
a
relationship with
doctor.
a doctor or anything. Make sure you trust yourself enough to do that. And that's a great point. I so appreciate that point. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I know we always say that we probably just need to come on twice a month so we can do questions and answer all the,
Right.
but
We'll get there one time.
yeah, we did do it one time. Look, my alarm's going off of my
I
medication.
will say, if you're still here, next month we're going to be talking about insomnia and
Yep,
painsomnia and things like that. So if you have questions or thoughts or anything like that, bring them back next month.
absolutely. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Like Amber said, we will be back October 7th when insomnia and painsomnia, and we will talk about that a little bit more. So thanks for tuning into Chronic Courage,
Thank
and we'll talk to
you.
you soon.
Have a good night.
All right, bye bye.